and a little maneuverability, and I think that's what a lot of people want to be able to have, that assurance is that, and I kind of had this conversation last night too with my daughter's mom, and she was asking what happens, if their stuff goes down. I said, well, luckily with Bitcoin, it's not a centralized thing. It's like if one computer goes down, we have another one here, and there's millions of them across the world that are doing this. So it's not something that can just instantly overnight just go down from one computer.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we're good on that front for sure. I think we're good on every front, honestly. So,
No, the biggest shift that's going to happen is not from the bottom end; it's from the top end, with countries like El Salvador, with countries like Brazil that, are skipping this middle ground kind of economy we're going through right now. They're just jumping straight into the digital age hardcore. Things are going to benefit in a way that they've never had before. The people who aren't the adopters, the people that are slow to it, are the people who are the most fortunate in the world right now. So 100%. I feel like that's the transition of wealth that comes with Bitcoin, that comes with Ethereum, that people are talking about, is just the people that are third world, that their presidents have decided, I'm going to take a shot just to get our country out of this, and I think those will benefit the most.
100%. 100%.
And if you look at it, like you said, like on a global scale like that, it's going to pull a lot of countries out of poverty.
Yeah.
And it really could set the world back in balance in a way that's going to give everyone more of a fair shot, at having a decent life. I mean, it doesn't even have to be a great life, just a livable, maintainable, life where they don't have to struggle every single day.
Yeah. And Kev, what do you think about Soros?
I thought that was very interesting news that I don't know how to.
He was one of your old whiteheads.
What'd you say?
He was one of your old whiteheads.
No, I think. I mean, on the positive side of things, anytime a billionaire is getting into Bitcoin, I can only say it's a good thing. So at this time, that's kind of how I'm interpreting it.
Yeah. Yeah, but the unique thing with Soros, though, I mean, Rand said it too. Like, I remember reading when I was like first getting into the stock market, like I was reading just the world's greatest like investors, and Soros just has this like savage persona around him that like like he'll literally buy his way onto the board of a company just to like get other people out of control, take control, and then run it how he thinks it should be ran, and it normally works. So like the fact that he's aping into a currency now, and he's
but the thing is that nothing is centralized, and
Yeah.
so one person coming into anything doesn't mean any power is in anyone else's hands. It's just he's making an investment.
Yeah. Very true. But like I viewed it too as like he's taking a stand against the centralized currencies. So
Yeah, and that could definitely be, it'd be a good sign, especially for crypto, and getting everything off of that centralized unit where it makes it to where, everyone has a little bit of control here and there.
yeah. Pivoting back to Horizon, in that Upload VR article, the vice president of Horizon was saying that they fully expect ticketed events, gifting of goods, trading of goods, buying digital goods.
And that's what we're all waiting for, I think.
Yeah. So I'm curious how soon that plays out, I guess.
Yeah, and it's going to be a timed rollout thing, where it's not going to be an overnight stuff. So with that 10 million that they want to put in there, there's so much room for that kind of stuff to take place now. And it gives not just the developers, but the creators a lot of wiggle room there.
Yeah. Monty, I don't know if you saw this today, but Facebook announced that they're essentially putting $10 million towards Horizon and the creators. So it's pretty
Yeah, I
big deal.
did. Yeah, I think I saw it was like an incentive for the creators.
Yeah.
To, like, I guess. Yeah.
But see, and I started noticing just literally like minutes after, the creators definitely got excited about it. I definitely did. You know, I mean, it's definitely, I'm pretty sure you guys got pretty excited for it.
Yeah.
Because you guys are also really great creators too.
Yeah.
Well, on top of that, on the other side of that coin, there's also the people who are not really creators, but they're more of, you know, the ones that just want to go and hang out. And a lot of them kind of started having a little bit of a backlash because they're like, oh, well, what's going to happen now? Is it only just creators? And if you watch the interview with Video Studios, they actually mentioned that they don't want just the creators. They want everyone involved. They want that diversity. They want the community, you know, and they're going to have games. They're going to have events that you could win things, you know, and it's going to be open to everyone in Horizon. And it's
Yeah.
not just the creators.
Yeah, because they were mentioning just like hangout spots and
Oh yeah, definitely.
so I'm curious how they, if outside of the creators, if they reward like the early adopters in some sort of fashion, but I don't know.
That maybe that could be a possibility. It would be less likely because there's so many of them. It has to be one of those like really stand out, outstanding type of person that's in there. You know, who's always in there helping people, or you know,
Yeah.
part of the community. That's, you know, that's the staple of their community, or whatever the case is, and they'll get noticed. Apart from that, I can understand where the people who just go to hang out will feel some kind of way about that. But at the same time, you know, if you're in there, you're working, you're creating worlds for other people, helping other people out, collaborating. Collaboration was one of the big things that they touched on. I can see how, you know, people would fancy that a little bit more, mostly because they're attributing to their cause. You know, they're allowing more people to come in and experience Horizon Worlds for what it is or what it could be, you know.
Yeah.
So I could see why the hangouters pretty much would have some kind of, or feel some kind of way about that.
100%. And I'm curious what they have in mind when they say gifting of goods, trading of goods, buying
Yeah.
digital goods and items.
I was definitely curious about that, and I did notice that they also mentioned about having outside help, outside developers. They also spoke with the creators of Beat Saber and other applications like that, and I believe that it could actually help the creators out in a huge way, you know, giving us valuable assets that help us make our worlds that much more immersive. You know, how, like, I guess Beat Saber would have to buy some rights to copyrights for the songs that they're allowing on their platform.
Yeah.
And, you know, if that be the same case, you know, imagine the music that you could put in the world that you create, or even just having mechanics that other games, you know, have and coined for their game. They'd be like, hey, we've used this in here. We noticed that it worked. You guys could use this in Horizon. You know,
Yeah.
and it would be a huge asset, not only for the developers, but for the creators, you know, the guys who script and things like that. And
100%.
just the possibilities.
In one of our the haptics episode, that community manager Alex, he was talking about how for the B haptic suit they kind of have like it's very similar to scripting in Horizon, to where you can tie whether it be a sound or like a gunshot to the haptic suit. Like
Wow.
like that type of stuff would be crazy long term in Horizon also. But like
Oh, yeah.
but like I could picture them working that into the code. So
And that's always a possibility. And when I talked to one of the guys in Horizons there during the scripting hours, the only reason why they really haven't fully, you know, like flushed out letting people have full control is because they wanted the ability to code in a way that they could understand,
yeah.
which is part of the reason why they didn't want to have the FPS counter where you could click your menu and your A button at the same time, and it would bring up your frame rate. they didn't want to have that because they didn't want the creators to ever have to worry about it, you know. So I think what their whole goal was they thought that maybe if they had something like that, it would scare more people away, because scripting in itself, the way they're scripting, they call it block coding, essentially, right? Where you just take a block of code and stick it in, and it reads it and says, "This is what's gonna happen." Whereas if you're straight out coding, you have to type everything in manually, you know,
Yeah.
and that could scare a lot of people away. Whereas, you know, that would only find like the people who are really good at scripting, and only those people will emerge from that rubble and succeed. And I don't think that's the direction they wanted to go.
Yeah, and looking at stuff like Roblox or the Sandbox or Horizon, like they're all three in that common theme of no code. Like just
Yeah.
make it as simple as possible to create. That way anyone can do it and anyone can bring their visions to life. So
Definitely.
I'm curious how that evolves. I hope that smart contract can evolve like that also, to where
Yeah.
anyone can go make their own NFT very, very simply. But there's obviously a lot of security involved with that too. So
Yeah.
it's
And
kind
I
of
can understand why there is, you know, because you want that authenticity to make sure that, you know, the NFT that you create, you know, is going to be real. It's going to be something that, you know, that people are going to bank on it. It's not just going to flake, and, you know, a lot of people are going to lose out on money because of it. So I can understand why, as far as the NFTs go. But like with Horizon, with the community that's already in there, they've already found that there's so many people that want to help each other out just because they can, just because they want to, you know. And with that said, you know, they could open up that coding a little bit more. I would say even to the point of almost open sourcing it, you know, being able to upload your own avatars
Yeah.
that you want on there. And
Yeah.
I could see it, you know, on the other side of that, I could also see it becoming a problem, kind of like how there's so many things like in VR chat. There's so many different avatars, but the thing is, too, people can put their avatars out there and sell them for other people, you know, if they wanted to. And I think Facebook kind of shied away from that because they didn't want people to think that, oh, now it's a pay to win kind of thing, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that's the wrong message that they wanted to send out. So they were like, no, so we just want to keep it like this so that everyone's even across the board. Everyone can learn at the same rate. You know, you come in with the skill that you have and you can only grow from there.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that kind of ties into some of the collections we're looking at also, NFT wise. As far as NFTs go, do you have any on your radar for when you get some ETH?
Currently, no, because like I said, because I'm still very new to this. I don't know what I'm looking at precisely and what would be something good. So what I'm trying to learn is what are the key points that I should be looking at? Because to me, it's like opening up a new language.
Yep.
And it's just like, if I don't know what this means, how am I going to know what this means? You know, so think of me pretty much, you know, like a block of clay. Mold
Yeah.
what you need me to be.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'd say like a key coming into anything is just finding who to trust, because there's going to be so many opinions in any space. So when you go in, especially when it comes to investments, you got to find sorry, I'm reading this tweet kept looking at too.
Yeah, I definitely understand that, because you're gonna have to sift through all of the, you know,
The BS.
BS to find out what is actually truth, and that's with any new thing that you learn. And unfortunately, the thing with investment is, I don't, at least in my own personal opinion, I don't think it's right to go in and just test things. You know, it's like I can build an electronic board and test it out. If it doesn't work, it's not a huge loss. But investing, you know, if
different ball
you
game.
invest in the wrong thing, yeah, and you make a mistake, that could be the end of everything, and you're down at the bottom again.
Yep.
So I'd
100%.
rather go in there, you know, going at this, you know, in the right direction, but very focused on, you know, doing things the right way. You
Yeah.
know, hopefully the first time.
Yeah, no, our first NFT investment, I mean, it went about as good as it could have went. So, we're grateful for that. But once you get up to a certain point, I mean, you can start. That's when you can start kind of feeling out projects a little bit more with a smaller
Right.
percentage of your account. But when you first start out, yeah, like it's crucial to hit a few on the head.
Right.
Especially if, well, it depends how much ETH you have, I guess,
That's true.
but
And you got to think about it too, though. I mean, you can't take a proper win without getting a little bit of losses there too, because you never really learn anything if you don't lose
yeah, true.
at some point. So I mean, losing a little bit here and there is not bad for me. It's just if I go in the first time and I lose, I'm just like, okay, I haven't really learned anything. I just lost. Why did I lose? Now I got to go back and do more research. Be like, okay, this is what happened, but how did that happen? Now I got to go dig even deeper. You know,
Yeah,
and that's I think that's one of the things that actually scares a lot of people away, not just me, is that, you know, they don't know, like you said, who you can trust, or, you know, while they're sifting through all the BS, what is truth and what is opinion,
yeah,
you know?
100%. Just real quick, I will be back in like a minute, 1 or 2
Yeah, no
minutes.
problem.
But Kev, if you want to go through some charts or some collections, I saw you going through a few there, but I'll be right back.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. What's up, everybody? What's up, Des? How we doing? Oh shoot, Des not a speaker.
Yeah, so-
Sorry, cousin. Des comes in here sometimes, and we invited you co-host. Let's go.
no worries.
I'm the co-host now. I got upgraded.
Yeah, there we go.
There we go. Des requested. Accept. There we go. Connecting.
Nice.
What up, Des?
Hey guys. Yeah, I was just kind of keeping quiet. I talk too much sometimes, so I love listening to you guys talk, honestly. So, how's everyone?
Good, man. Always new topics every night. You know, we come in here and we have, you know, within this crypto, metaverse, NFT space, you got pretty much unlimited topics, all the way from, you know, what kind of art people are working on to, you know, the crypto coins and seeing how Ethereum is moving. So it's endless conversation.
I really enjoy that because in real life, I talk too much, and this is actually very therapeutic in the sense of trying to remind myself to listen more. And at the same time, how I come across, even with my tone. Like earlier today, it was a very tense moment in one of the rooms, and it just had to do with me trying to communicate correctly. It was weird. I had to take a step back on whether or not, like, I was, coming across right. But every time I see you guys, I'm like, oh, you guys know about 3D and VR, and, like, that's my language. So I get excited every time I see you guys. And I'm also trying to remember people. I was talking to some dude last night about some cool stuff, and I cannot remember who he is.
I tend to do that too consistently. So what I try to do personally for me, what I try to do is when I meet somebody who's very interesting, I try to learn their name, and then in talking with them, I try to use their name so it sticks in my head. Because I forget people's names all the time.
I always forget to tap on people's profiles to actually look, like I see your name is UK to me, I see KE, and then I see Ella. But the only reason I know, kind of remember Elevated is because I actually decided to remember to look at my Discord. It's been a long time. Wow. Talk about notifications. Like, I've only been a part of this, like, Spaces thing for 3 weeks. Been an artist forever, but it's just so fun.
Building and a bunch of other cool various shit. So just connecting you two. You guys are both kind of artists in your own way.
But I realized that became a controversial question earlier, and I didn't mean for it to. I literally was just wondering. But yeah, do you guys ever have tips and stuff of, like, stuff to look at? I don't know anything about code. I work in IT. I'm more of a software person when it comes down to it. But I'm here to learn and collaborate.
Yeah, definitely. So, Facebook Horizon, I know they use a lot of C Sharp and Unity, which is what most people are starting to use nowadays, also, and it's starting to become the mainstream. And I started working on Unity a little bit. It's a little bit difficult because you're going into the actual code.
I'm getting rugged hard. I'm gonna drop out and come right back.
Yeah. Yeah, and what's really cool is that I started using Gravity Sketch, and that's also in VR, and love it because you can block things out. You can kind of gray box everything inside of there and make very detailed designs. I started working on 3D designs for helmets and masks that you could use in VR, and I kind of want to plan to upload that to the oh goodness, what's the I can't even remember what it's called. It's a 3D website where you can upload for people to purchase your 3D models and be able to use them in their games. And what's really cool about it is with Gravity Sketch, you can actually take the files, format them to whatever you want to. You can even 3D print those files if you wanted to. And that
I
allows...
just heard that last part. If you were talking to me, I'm so sorry. I got rugged and had to come back.
No worries. Yeah, I was saying that with Facebook Horizon, they mostly use Unity and C Sharp, and I recently got Unity, and it's so different than the coding that you have in Horizon, because the way Facebook Horizon makes it is where you can block code, and what that is it takes strings of code that are already made, put it into a script box, and you can connect all of the events in that way. Whereas in Unity, you actually have to type out the code itself. You have to know what parameters you're looking for, and what motions you want, and you have to type them in exactly. But what I was talking about after that was the 3D modeling in Gravity Sketch, and that's also another program in VR that I've been using, and you can, gray box a lot of different things in a very detailed manner. And, I've been working on some 3D models in there, which I find to be very intuitive when you start working with the tools.
That's so cool, man.
Do you have an Oculus?
I don't have a headset, dude. I've never seen my stuff in VR, and it's sad. Like, I'm gonna put a couple links up above. I am not here to shill. I'm only wanting to share my art so you can see it. Literally, I just want you guys to really understand that. Like, yeah, of course, money's cool. I'm really not one of the artists that does this for money at all. I jumped in here for fun. It's cool if I make some money down the road, but I just want you guys to know that before I post anything.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'd definitely love to take a look at it. I mean, I'm all for anyone's art, because you want to get across what you want to get across in a way that you feel represents your talents, and I think that's a good thing amongst all artists, and there's so many different great 3D designers out there and 3D modelers out there, and you can never just pinpoint one and say, yeah, this person's the greatest. I mean, for me personally, if I said something was the greatest, it would be a catalog of different things from different people, and I think that's a really great thing to have. But yeah, I've always been interested in 3D modeling, 3D printing, all of that, because like I keep saying, within the metaverse, video games, these things will never go away. I mean, unless you had a major worldwide shutdown, they're never going to go away.
Like a coronavirus or something?
Yeah.
No, so yeah, I
Oh, it might have cut out again. We struggle with Dez in the connection. I don't know why.
Well,
Facebook cut me off.
There you go.
There we go.
Okay.
The only reason I wanted to share this post was because Facebook's the only place I know where to post my 360 VR videos.
Yeah. Well, YouTube allows that also. Let's see. I'm trying to think of other sites that can do it. I'll tell you what, though, 360 VR is very different than what most people expect it to be. And it's mostly because they'll take a single image and try to stretch it, and that causes some distortion. Whereas you can take a single heat map and stitch it, across several different layers and get a perfectly rendered 3D image. But that's such a high processing unit for any computer, of any caliber to do. That's not handheld. But you kind of brought up, you were kind of joking about, the Corona shutting down the world, but that kind of makes a really good point too, as far as the metaverse goes. I was thinking about this afternoon, and someone had mentioned something about, if what this world would have been like without, if the virus and pandemic didn't happen. And I thought to myself, I was like, well, if you think about it, the pandemic only made the metaverse even stronger. It brought more people together than it did tear it apart, because more people wanted to connect, and they really found out that they were so lonely sitting in quarantine. They needed to get out because people are social creatures. Humans are social creatures just by nature. And, the uprising VR, the Oculus, the Rift, all metaverse things, it just made the community that much stronger, because now you could sit at home and still visit your friends, still go out, quote unquote,
Still go to Burning Man.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's what got me into the main game engines like Unity. I actually started with Unity only because of the Blackrock City VR. There is another one, Infinite Playa, but I didn't know about them until it was a little too late. But my friend who actually came out to a couple of my events when we were throwing not Burning Man parties, she apparently was one of the forefronts of this. The BRC VR is Blackrock City. I don't know if you guys know about Burning Man much.
A lot of my friends, they talk about it quite a bit.
So Blackrock City, you know what it is then. At least everybody knows now. So the idea was virtual reality. They did an amazing job. They went over to AltSpace VR.
Yes.
AltSpace got bought by Microsoft right before it all happened. So it didn't even throw a wrench in the gears. It literally just sped things up and made it better.
Yeah.
So what they did was they sent us these packs.
Sorry. Yeah.
But yeah, no, they had these packs that they sent out, and it's basically just all of these fabricated assets that you can use that you probably would bring to Burning Man.
And imagine the NFTs that would have been amazing for that.
Yes, and it wasn't there yet. It's such a young idea, but here's the other one. These guys, Infinite Playa, I finally looked into them, and they're amazing. They're kind of like an all year long kind of deal, but there's this app that I found that they're on that you can use on iOS and Android, which was the lacking part of AltSpace. Because I love playing on the desktop because, it's the only thing I have. Of course, I'm definitely going to be investing into a headset eventually. But it was so cool because, building my own camp, building, my tribe into this little verse, it was so much fun. I learned so much from that, and while I was doing that, I realized, oh yeah, I forgot. I've been playing on Unreal Engine because of this new skateboarding game coming out, Session. They gave us the keys and said, mod away, guys. And we're like, all right.
Right. See, and I think that's a really cool thing when developers allow the testers to go ahead and do that. And I think that's a really fantastic way to get people together, because they want to have these keys. And they want the metaverse. Even as a beta tester, there's so many things out there that are possible, and granted, right now, it's starting to become even more mainstream. There are still going to be stragglers, as always. That's kind of expected.
Hey, I can't even afford a headset to look at my own art. So I totally understand people not just being able to be left in the dust, but financially not being able to afford to even show up. Because they think it all has to do with money, but it's not.
Right. And I think having, especially like the Quest, their standalone unit, it's such a small amount compared to what's out there. It's affordable for the consumer. It's definitely something that's worth getting into, and not just the things that you can create, but the relationships that you build with the people while in the metaverse. They start becoming your real friends. Like even in Horizon, I chat with a lot of the people that I met in there, not even in VR, so you build real relationships at the same time, which I think is a great thing. But
I've been in a lot of different spaces, and so if I'm repeating myself ever, just let me know. But one of the reasons I showed up was kind of just to see what's going on the NFT community online. But I've been an artist where I've stayed independent since I quit my last band because I just wanted to do my own shit. Nobody else around me is even interested. So I got to a point where I turned to my boyfriend, who's a classical musician, amazing musician, and I'm like, what's wrong with my music right now? And he's like, it's directionless. It's like everything you make right now. It's great, but it's directionless. I'm like, that is the best honesty I could hear, because I was looking for the word. It just wasn't going anywhere. Great sounds, great cool shit, but it just doesn't go. It's not arranged properly. It doesn't emote properly. And so as soon as that was accepted in my mind, I realized I do need to collaborate. I need someone to help me finish my thought, because I can never remember where I'm going. And it's pretty nice to be able to be a part of a community that we're just legitimately driving a vehicle forward, and that's how I feel. And it's almost like a self-correcting car, like it's really amazing me how many people in here are not here to make a buck.
Right. And even when I first started in VR, it was never to make a buck, even till now, like with the whole Facebook and, that $10 million investment that they did for the creators. I definitely want to try, but its original intent was not, to make money. It was just to find something that I love doing and be amongst people who love doing the same things, and helping each other out. And that solidified it for me. If I made money along the way, cool. If I didn't, also cool. But we made really cool stuff and helped each other out, and not just each other, but we helped the other community members out too. So like if you take a look into Horizon, where you can create, pretty much your dream world that you want to create, albeit you have tools that are very basic, but it's the things that you can do in that world is pretty expansive. And when you take a look at when you take a look at all of the people who are more knowledgeable, like in things like scripting and stuff like that, you start bringing them aboard and start collaborating with them, then you start figuring out that, wow, there's way more to what I thought this originally was, and it only makes it better.
That's so cool, man.
Yeah,
I'm just stoked to be here.
Hey,
right?
hey, Des.
In these times right now, it's actually a really, really great time to really be a part of these communities. And I know this started out with this whole, fear of missing out type of thing. And it is starting to become such a new trend that a lot of people are just hopping on the hype train and not really knowing why. And sometimes it just takes that. Other times it takes them, they would have to have some kind of major interest in it for them to even, take a whiff of it. But at the same time, it's all a matter of getting them in there, getting them interested, and teaching them, the things that they can do, and not just, shoving it down their throat. It's allowing them to make that decision for themselves. And I think with VR and anything in the virtual reality metaverse, once they find out the things that they can do, they're instantly hooked. I spoke with one of the guys. He's actually in the UK right now, and he just came from a job fair for underprivileged children. And there was one kid in there who wasn't fully understanding the whole concept of virtual reality. So he busted out his Oculus and handed it to him. He said, "Here, try this and let it explain it for itself." And the kid could not get enough of it, you know? And I was like, man, that is a huge step forward, because now and the kid that he showed it to makes music also. He's like 16, 17, and he makes his own music. I was like, look, you have not only shown this person VR, what you've done is you set this kid up for life, for creating music in the way that he wants to, in the world that he wants to, however he wants to. And it's in a non-destructive way. You set this kid up for life to create beautiful music and just push forward with that, you know? So, I mean, just
that kind of stuff inspires me.
Yeah.
I was hanging out for like the first, like, I think it was like the second day I was hanging out with the Stone Dates. And to be completely honest, when I first got into these spaces, my intention was not to be rude, not to be like a jerk, but I almost wanted to like make this point, like, you know, there are NFT artists, and that's bullshit, is what I originally thought. When I first got here, I'm like, you were not an artist before this, you do not know struggle. But then the more I hung out with the community and realized that that's what it's really based around, the more I disagreed with my own thoughts. And I love that ability to change my own mind, because as you guys get to know me, please understand, I do not ever mean to speak in empirical truths. I do not know everything. I'm not that kind of guy. I want to learn. I know a lot, but I don't know if all of I remember is right, because I'm a stoner. I've been doing too many drugs for too long.
Well, and think about this too. Once you start getting into the communities like this, and I think Kevin C can vouch for this, the communities, they are so welcoming. They want to help each other out. And like you said, you know, it's not that you know everything. People make mistakes and say things and change their mind all the time. And I've personally found, yes, there's going to be opposers to that. But for the majority of it, you're going to find communities that are like, okay, we understand that you said this. Yeah, we'll accept that, because everybody makes mistakes. Everybody changes their mind. You know, upon finding new information, you're allowed to.
Yeah, and you know, there's so much for me to learn. Like right now, I posted up above, like Captain Brack's Desert Shack was this like random variety psychedelic visuals from Resolume and just trippy music from my friends and me, just like up and down tempo psytrance, drum and bass, all of that. And it's kind of just turned into a shit show of a stream because nobody's watching, so I just kept doing random shit. But it's funny because like I got this LiDAR camera on my phone.
Oh, nice.
And I immediately realized its potential when I got it like a year ago, and I've been scanning like everything around me, dude. And so I actually realized, I was like, you know, the Desert Shack is actually based off of a specific desert shack that's at like near my buddy's like property, where we throw like desert raves basically. Like we throw like the Not Burning Man party out there with this giant pyramid that actually used to, that came from Burning Man.
Hey Des.
Sorry.
No, you're good. But no, I was thinking about your LiDAR scanner, like a night or two ago, and what it actually reminded me of. Have you watched Ready Player One, where there's like Holiday's memories?
I read that like it was the Bible.
Right.
Okay, I'm not a person that like reads a lot at all. And when it comes to just like picking up books and stuff, I'm always creating. And then I just need to turn off and, you know, turn on my mindless self-indulgence on TV. But I read that thing like it was just addictive.
Yeah.
And I can't get myself to get into the second one yet. But the movie
The second
was
one's
amazing.
phenomenal.
Dude, really?
Yes.
I read those like first, like maybe like half of the first chapter.
It's
Yeah, I
good.
haven't read the second one yet.
No,
Like,
but
and
I
I'm
was
one
thinking about that
I don't
LiDAR
even-
scanner and like, couldn't you
Yeah.
scan like all these places you form memories? You could essentially scan them
Literally.
and
So
bank it.
check this out. You have a modern. What cell phone do you have?
I got the iPhone 12 Pro Max.
Perfect. See what do you got?
I got the
You got
13
something?
Pro Max.
Cool. You both have probably the best LiDAR scanners on the market for handhelds right now.
Right?
My
Nobody
phone
knows
has a
about
LiDAR
it.
scanner. Well, see, and the thing about LiDAR is actually it's been around for a long time, since like the first digital cameras have been around.
Yeah, but they didn't really give us this kind of technology until now. I mean, the government's the one that used it the most until now.
And they use it for heat mapping, for tracking places. Yep. And here's the cool part about it: everyone has access to it now, and you could go through the App Store and just type in LiDAR. I used to use it for. I literally used to use it for 3D modeling different images. That's what
that's what I'm doing.
Was it the 360 to Connect? They used something very similar. They used an IR array, and it was really, really good for detecting motion.
I
And
was
just the technology. Yeah, the technology has been there for a long time, and no one's really known about it, but the government, like you said. But once people start tapping into that, think of augmented reality.
It's on its way.
Exactly.
I saw it finally for the first time in popular culture being used, because the new Space Jam has LeBron, or whatever the guy's name is.
LeBron.
His son has his phone. His son has his phone, and then I think people are talking to me on Discord. I'm not used to that. Sorry. And he scans these NBA players because he's making his own game. And I didn't even realize what I was doing until, like, the only person I've ever collaborated with, I'm showing him what I'm doing, and he's like, "So are you making a video game?" And I'm like, "No, I'm just building a Burning Man camp." And then I looked at it and thought, holy crap, I can package that into an app on all platforms. I can send it out to people, and it can be a virtual rave, and it's only good for one night. And the way you get in is you have a certain type of, I don't know, avatar, whatever people like, token or whatever.
There you go. You have your NFT.
So, like, that's my, like, idea in the back of my head when it comes to, like, what I would want to do if I was, like, the one, like steering the wheel right now. But right now, I'm like, man, I'm excited to collaborate because I haven't been finishing anything, and that's what I need to do.
I feel you there. I definitely feel you there. It's, getting into a project, you get so far, and then either you lose interest in it or you just lose inspiration, whatever the case is, and having that collaborative partner or partners really, really helps get you back into that groove.
100%.
But circling back to the LiDAR thing, what's really neat about it is you can get a super detailed image of anything that you scan, and you can put that into, you save that file, put it into whatever 3D software that you want to. Use it however you want to, model it, remodel it, sketch it up, whatever it takes. That itself could be turned into an NFT. And,
So I have myself scanned as an avatar, and just so everybody knows, the 10, I think, is when they started with the facial scanning on the iPhone. That model and up are able to use the app I use with the avatar creation. Now, I almost jokingly uploaded myself, like, it's a scan of myself, and I literally posted, like, buy me. I'll even send you 3 more different changes of clothes. But I got an email today, and I didn't realize that this isn't worldwide, this app. And they basically sent us an email, all of us that have actually, like, gotten in since the beginning of hey, I got this phone, there's no apps. There's nothing to do with this LiDAR scan. It was insane. So this guy basically emailed everybody going, hey, what needs to be improved before we go worldwide? Because we're going to send this out everywhere. I'm like, weird. I'm not used to being asked this stuff.
Oh, yeah. Man, when you start doing beta testing things, oh, you get asked that a lot.
Yeah, it's fun, man. I mean, like you see that shack, that desert shack. It's all like, there's plenty of mesh in areas that don't have anything, right? I have the same issue with not issue, but I have the same thing with the scan of my skate park that I'm trying to build, and it's inside of Unreal, and I'm looking for someone to kind of help me understand how to smooth out a mesh and even maybe connect different parts that are missing. So
See, that's where
That's what I'm doing.
I'm short because I'm still learning that kind of things also. So I'm still new at doing 3D mapping.
oh yeah,
So you know how your panoramic pictures, you can do that. That
Yeah.
could possibly be a way that you could integrate with that and be like, all right, this part's missing. How can we 3D model this? You know.
that makes sense. Like what I'm trying to figure out on this last step is really like smoothing out the scan of the skate park is going to be difficult, but probably easier than I think. And I really think it just comes down to like making it less complex when it comes to how many like vertices or whatever it has.
Right.
So there's all these weird things, but then I forgot that when I was like on the chats with these Burning Man VR people, one of the guys was like, "Man, I just use Unity," or he's like, "Unity is how we upload it. I use Blender over here, and I use Blender too. I use everything." I am starting to realize that Blender is probably going to be the way to actually dial it back.
Yeah, it's a toss up between Blender. A lot of people use SketchUp for different things like that.
I haven't tried SketchUp.
I haven't either. I haven't tried Blender either. I use different programs.
Dude, you'll like Blender. I honestly feel like their interface was a little bit easier to use in the beginning, but then I used Unity and went, it just makes more sense.
Yeah. Just kind of circling back to the scanning yourself.
Mhm.
Have you ever taken a look at a website called Ready Player Me?
No.
So
Ready Player
UK.
Me.
So our article tomorrow is about Ready Player Me and another company. So that's weird coincidence you brought that up.
Can I ask what that company potentially is? Or do I
Yeah,
have
no, you're good. Yeah. So Ready Player Me, they're pretty awesome. Like
Yeah.
growing up, well, I mean, essentially as long as the internet's been around, you've had to make a profile for every game that you go play, every app that you have, to where it's kind of just like a pain in the ass. So what Ready Player Me is doing is they're partnering. For now, they've partnered with a ton of these decentralized worlds. And so their avatar is actually cross-platform. So we can go into Neos. Were you there for the Biohazard episode?
I have not seen that one yet.
That was our second week, I believe, and he's
That's the one I ended up missing because okay.
but he actually is a graphic designer inside of this realm called Neos, and like the haptic suits are integratable with that, and Ready Player Me is integratable with that. So you can go in there with your avatar, but then you can bounce into Kev. You'd have to correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think it's either VR chat or I think it's VR chat that they're teamed up with.
I forgot that that's actually what got me started. I started making avatars years ago. Oh my god, I forgot about VR chat.
Yeah, so Ready Player Me, you can go into VR chat, you can go into like I think they have close to 100 partners at this point.
Yeah. So one of the people that the people that I want to ask you about as far as the NFTs go, they're partnering up with Ready Player Me also.
Nice.
The
Okay.
avatar that you're using in this beta is through Ready Player Me.
And so what like I mean, you can send me. Do they have like a website with a roadmap and stuff quite yet, or like a white paper?
Not yet. They're still working on everything. The game is very rudimentary right now. I think you can access it through. I think it's not SideQuest. You might be able to access it through the store. But I'll ask them to make sure first before I say. I just
I'm
want to
actually
make sure.
filling out. I'm filling out Become a Partner.
Yeah, because what they want to do is the reason why they asked me was because they wanted me to promote their app, get it onto the Oculus store.
And is it purely VR or is it like cross-platform?
It's strictly in VR,
Okay.
but what they have is the accessibility for Ready Player Me to create your avatar. Um, they have different. Okay,
So
I'm trying to say it without saying too much.
it's all good. But like, is the NFT, is your avatar the NFT?
Um, that's the thing is the avatar itself isn't, but they're creating. They're going to allow you to allow us to give them ideas as to what type of avatars we can create, so they can make that the NFT. But
Okay.
it's not just that; it's going to be the clothing that they can wear.
Yeah.
Let's see, it'll be anything that's accessory for the avatar related. Um, and I think there's one more thing that I can't mention yet, but it's very related in that sense.
Give us the alpha. Come on, UK.
So I'm on the Ready Player Me site.
I'm pretty sure I can, but I want to double check first because they've already started asking me to start recording videos with it and start putting content out. But I want to run it by them before anything else, just to make sure, because having to sign NDAs is kind of,
So I'm on the Ready Player Me site right now, and looking at some of their partners, it's impressive. You know, there's a lot of even Oculus partners. So 11 Table Tennis, I know that's a popular game on the Oculus. Meet and VR. As far as the NFT studio, NFT space, RTFKT, Artifact, Dune, SideQuest, VR Chat, vSpatial. Like, so they're heavily integrated in with Facebook and Team Oculus. So I'm curious to see.
and I think they're heading in the direction of doing the having those blockchain apps, where they could potentially, have these NFTs where you can customize your character with special accessories and clothing and things like that. Where you have this NFT, you have this clothing, blah blah blah, and the more that you play games and win, you gain tokens to be able to do that, and
So
play to win essentially, or
So-
play to earn. Yeah.
so does this mean Oculus is like? I mean, have they talked to Oculus themselves? Like Oculus is fine with these NFTs coming onto the platform and stuff, which I would assume because like the Fluffs have it in their roadmap now too.
See, and that would make sense. I mean, if you really think about it, anything that you create on the Oculus, from the Oculus, is kind of theirs until you pull it off. Kind of like video recording in Horizon. All the tools, all the worlds, anything that you build in there is theirs, but the moment that you record it and pull it off of there, it's yours. That part of that content becomes yours. And I think that might be in a similar fashion. I'm not 100%.
I gotcha. But no, because like if that opens the gates, then I wouldn't see why Sandbox, Decentraland, like all these other realms wouldn't start being hosted on the Oculus,
Yeah, definitely.
which would be dope.
And that's kind of the reason why I was kind of curious why the Oculus isn't open source
Right?
as much as it should be, because the things that people can create with that is just insane. I understand now that they can go, into Unity, create something, and then put it on there, which takes 10 times more work, which you get a better product, and you can't really argue that. But for similar things where like you create something, you just want to upload it because you want it as your avatar, or you want this in your world. Horizon doesn't allow that kind of thing, and it may just be because of a server/safety issue. I don't know.
It's I don't I don't know. Kevin and I talk about it, but I don't know. That's where like when she hints at trading digital goods, I wonder if they'll treat it as something in game or an NFT. I would assume in game, but it'd be cool if they opened up.
Yeah, and I think that would be one of their best markets right there, because I think from the beginning they steered away from having in-game currency.
Yeah.
But if you really think about it, say say for one of your worlds you needed something, and there's a small market for that, right? And you go out there, there's a creator out there who wants to sell something, and you're like, hey, you have this, can I purchase this from you? You know, and have it kind of in-game trading post essentially. You know, I don't see why that would be an issue, but
Yeah, I'm just curious. I'm really curious. My biggest question right now is how does Horizon make money the way it is? And then where do they go to have it being profitable? Because I don't see it being a paid event or a paid application on, you know, the Oculus. I see it being free. So where do they take it so Facebook can profit?
I think
And yeah,
Are you bludgeoned with advertisements?
no. So no, not right now.
literally not right now. Yeah,
But
'Cause
my thought with it, like, I could see them treating it kind of like Twitter's treating their ticketed spaces as like they just take a percentage. So like I wonder if any event hosted in Horizon or any goods sold, Facebook would just take a percentage, kind of like Apple does with their App Store, or like Epic Games, that Fortnite creator mode. Their Epic's taking the majority, which is like, in my opinion, hypocritical compared to what they just went through with Apple. But it's whatever. I don't know.
I mean, I guess they're going to run their show the way they want to, but you're right. You're definitely not wrong there.
Yeah, but no. Also, Kev, I did want to touch base with you just on if you had any NFT projects you wanted to go through real quick. We hadn't touched on many
Yeah,
quite
sorry,
yet.
kind of.
No, it's all good. We're just kicking it, man. For real, it's all good.
yeah, no, I posted in the Discord today. I'm pretty loyal to 3 projects right now, with that being Fluff, Galaxy Fighters, and AFA, and just kind of you know, seeing everything that's coming out of them, because it's you know, the most evolved technology that's in the NFT space that I've seen so far. And I think it's just not mainstream enough, because the NFT space is just so small that, you know, there's a handful of influencers that are pumping their bags recklessly, and these certain projects are getting rewarded because of these influencers. So I just don't think it's big enough right now for people to actually see through the cracks and see the projects that are actually going nuts and actually doing real life things. So, and I could be biased, you know, because I'm in the project, so I'm not here to go and chill and pump my bags as well. But yeah, no, I see legitimate utility in the 3 projects that I'm looking at.
And so like that's kind of what UK was talking about earlier. He's like, I want to get in, but it's hard to know where to start, who to trust, what to look for. And so I don't know. It's dude. Well, UK. If you don't mind me asking, you don't have to share this if you don't want to either. But like, did you have a set amount of ETH you were planning to start with?
Honestly, something small and manageable.
Yeah.
Where it didn't, like, I don't know exactly what the ETH is worth just on a single basis.
It's 3,600 bucks today. Maybe
Okay.
maybe 37. But
Yeah, I saw that that Bitcoin was pretty far up there. They
yeah,
were
we're
up
just
like,
getting started.
yeah. Oh yeah. And I was trying to learn how to read, you know, the ticker and kind of keep an eye on that. But as far as, you know, just something small, honestly, I kind of want your opinions on that, on what you think would be considered. Let's say, you know, I got X amount of money to spend to get a little bit enough to manage. What would be a recommended amount, or what would you personally?
So it's interesting, right? So it's, you know, the space has projects from various backgrounds that come from, you know, just completely art based, completely utility based for the real world, and then things like profile pictures that could develop into something for the metaverse. But all three of these categories start in the same spot. So, you finding a project that has a mint. And so what a mint is when they are first, kind of dropping their project on their website and allowing people to buy it.
Okay.
And then so that mint price is generally fairly cheap in regards to ETH and the projects that have been established that are already out there. So generally you can find projects for 0.1 ETH or less from that minting stage.
Okay.
But the thing is, you have to really dive in and do your research prior to, jumping on these 0.1 mints. You can't just be like, oh, there's a mint today. This looks cool. Buy it. Because you really just don't know what you're getting into and the team that you're involved with. So, I mean,
And
it's like, I don't know. See if I stemmed a point, you could jump in there.
yeah, it brought up kind of like what's unique about the three projects that we're looking at is they are kind of like none of them are like huge yet, but like I would say the Fluffs, they're over in ETH, so I would consider that like a somewhat bigger project. And then the Galaxy Fighters, granted they've moved 0.3 ETH this week, but they're around 0.7. And then that AFA project actually is not out yet, and it's going to have a mint. Now, granted, that mint probably, I assume, will sell out quickly, but even in that secondary market, if you could get it like essentially in the first week, I'm thinking hopefully you could snag it under half an ETH. And so you kind of have those different price points there, But I don't know. I mean, we can go into why we like them because they're all very similar to each other. But
Definitely.
Kev, do you think that's like fair? I don't know what to expect from the AFA price wise. I have no idea. But
Yeah, I've been in the Discord like hella. The AFA Discord is probably the most involved I'm in over everything. But it's interesting. Like I think by the end of this month is when the AFA is supposed to actually go through the process of their mint. So that's something to look forward to. If you their Discord, AFA it's made by Altered State Machine. So if you type in Altered State Machine, you can find their website, and then from there find their Discord. And just soaking into their roadmap and just kind of that's one thing that I would recommend to anybody trying to get involved with NFTs and finding a community is all these communities are on Discord. And so you could join a ton of different communities and just kind of get a different feel for all of them because they are all different. They are all way different. And you can feel it from spending, 30 minutes in one and then 30 minutes in another one. And you'd be like, this community isn't for me. This is too pumpy. We're going to the moon, spammy. So like everyone's in it for the
Super
money.
hype train.
yeah.
Where like some of them are like, okay, these, this is what we're working on. The team is involved, and you can actually talk to the team and be like, yeah, this is the tech, this is the artist that we're working with. Like, This is kind of what we've been doing. And so you can feel out the different projects by, jumping in their Discord.
And I think to piggyback off that also, I mean, yeah, like Kev said, as far as like they all have their own vibe to where it's like, I don't know, you go in there and there are those communities where it's just like, you don't even, it's almost like annoying. It's like a nuisance almost with how spammy they are. But like you want to, like you said, if the team members are in there, that's like a golden nugget if you can reach out to them and ask a question and they reply. But like you want that like confident community that's still excited but they're not spammy. Like
Yeah, you don't want them to be pompous, kind of,
Yeah.
And I guess it'd be in the same way that you would feel out any other crowd.
Exactly.
You can kind of tell.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I was going to because, so my curiosity was this. Like I said, in about 2 weeks, I'm gonna be handed apparently a handful of NFTs to do with whatever, and it's based on a few different companies that's been set up for this, and I don't know where to go with that. You know, um,
As far as like you're considering like selling them versus like holding them, or like are you wanting to promote them?
I guess a kind of mixture of everything, just to kind of get a better idea of what's actually going on in the NFT world, get a feel for these companies in general, and where my next best move would be.
Yeah.
And it's kind of hard to say because, like I said, everything right now it's very hard to talk about because there's very little things that I can mention.
Yeah.
As soon as I get word from the lead, then I can get back to you guys more on that, and we can have more detailed conversation about it.
Yeah.
But, like, say for instance, you were handed, I don't know, 20 NFTs for, say for instance, an in-game asset, whatever you want, like clothing or whatever. I guess it would depend on the liquidity pool that they have and what they're worth. You could potentially sell those, correct?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, yes, assuming they have liquidity to do so. But like,
Right.
we actually got 3 hoodies from the Artifact team, and
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know if we purposefully ever like said we're gonna do this as a strategy, but it just kind of happened. Like when Kevin and I go into a project, we typically end up buying 3 NFTs. It's like
Okay.
it's like normally you have one that you can just hold forever. You
Right.
can release one, but then there's like it's almost like you can release one and then there's still one for each of us also.
Right.
But
So
so
that way you have maneuverability there.
yeah, so if you're getting 20, I mean, shoot, that's a strategy you could play in multiple ways. But
Right, and that's kind of what I was leaning into was that, okay, so if I'm holding one, holding two, whatever, banking, just on that, and then, selling or trading, whatever the case is, with different ones and seeing what else is out there. I think that might be able to, put my feelers out there for different companies with other NFTs that may potentially be more profitable.
yeah, yeah. So that was kind of where I was gonna go next. Is like, this team that's giving you the NFTs, so it kind of comes down to how much confidence you have in them. But in the same breath, you can also consider, well, shoot, here's the liquidity pool. Here's what I could make if I sold 10 of them right now. Can I
Right.
utilize that Ethereum in a manner that's gonna yield me better return? Well, if the
Right.
answer is yes, then and you still have
Well,
10. You still have 10 even if you do that, you
Exactly.
know?
And the most recent word that I got was yesterday, was that they're going to be, handing them to us to do with what we please, essentially. So that
Gotcha.
gives me the freedom to do that thing, to be able to feel out, the system, feel out, and it'll put me at less risk because it's not something that I'm personally investing in, because they're not. All they want from me to gain this is my time and help them promote.
Yep. Yep.
So as far as monetarily wise, it's not saying that when I promote it's not worth any kind of value, but I'm putting the value into promoting this so that I'm making it worth that NFT cost,
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, when you can let us know more info on it, I mean, we'll gladly peek at it, and that could help us feel it out and give you some advice on it also. But
Definitely.
but no, I mean, there's some gold little collections out there that have that long-term roadmap to where, like, honestly, I don't know. I'm sold on this Galaxy Fighter game until, like, if the game comes out and it's just trash, then okay. But until then, like, I don't know. The ecosystem and their white paper was
Oh yeah.
just
I was
tremendous.
taking a look at their website the other night when you guys mentioned it, and I was pretty stunned by it. I mean, they seem to have their, not to kind of say it in this way, but it seems they kind of have their shit together. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, because so if you go and read that white paper that's on their website, like anytime a collection has a white paper, that's a pretty serious, in my opinion, that shows they at least took the time to put that together. Especially theirs, it's like it's pretty thorough,
Yeah.
to the point to where it boosts your confidence a little bit, but then it goes back to a few other things we look at. Like, yes, the Discord is one, but another thing that stands out to me with this Galaxy Fighter collection is if you go on OpenSea, they're a 10,000 part collection, and when I looked earlier today, they only had like 500 listed, like somewhere in in the 500s, to where
Okay.
like literally a 20th of the holdings are up for sale right now. Like that's a
Yeah.
very small amount to where like that shows that people have confidence in the project.
Right, right.
So,
And it's almost like they're not selling it out there out of desperation, kind of thing.
well, yeah, and
They're not just throwing it out there just in case. Hopefully, somebody picks it up.
and on the flip side to it though, it's like they're holding it because they believe in the team and the project.
Right, and I can understand where how that's working too, because it does form a big trust in not only yourself but in your team, and it makes your team feel a little bit more valuable because you're just like, hey, we're going to hold on to this because now we know that you guys are these great creators, great developers. You guys are doing great things. We trust in you, so we're not just going to give these things away. They're going to be worth something. So we're going to put a little bit out there. Once this goes out, they believe that they're going to get their value, high
Well-
up there, where these NFTs are just going to start taking off, and
Well-
that's definitely a possibility.
Well, and the thing with this collection though is like they released all 10,000 at once, and
Wow.
the 10,000 sold out. So now that price fluctuation is truly based off the community and how the community values it, not the team itself.
And that's kind of what I was trying to explain to someone the other day too. Is that like I asked someone about NFTs, and they're like, "Oh, I don't think they're worth anything and whatnot." And I said, "And that's a great opinion. You have that, but could you kind of explain?" And I wasn't trying to be an asshole about it. I was just trying to ask them, "Okay, that's a fair opinion, but could you give me a little bit more insight into that as to why you don't believe they're worth anything?" And he did give me a good explanation, so I accepted that because I'm trying to be open to, unbiased to what people have to say, so I can make a proper decision. And just after that, someone else had mentioned about, the value of them. I was like, well, honestly, if you take a look at it, the value is technically based on what people value it at. If they want it a lot, its value is going to go up. If they don't want it too much, their value is going to go down.
I think that's the cool thing about this whole crypto space is like that's the same thing with Bitcoin, Like it's truly breaking the mold of like it's almost it's crazy. Like the more these collections come out, like it's almost like old school days where like you're gonna start bartering for like
You know what, though? I don't honestly see that as a problem anymore because
I don't either.
money, like I said, used to be based on the price of gold.
Yeah.
And with gold being, so low in the world now that they can't base it off of that anymore. They got to go to a new, more moderate system. And now with crypto, they have a whole new system, Now the dollar bill, like Des, I think it was Des was saying, or the guy before, that the USD is probably going to tank here.
Oh,
with
Armani, yeah.
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 And paper money is going to be a thing of the past.
Yeah. No, so like
Yeah, go ahead.
so just real quick to kind of bounce back and wrap up a thought, just like on what we look for in a project. I would I would just make a mental note, like always check out the team, check out the community. If they have a roadmap, that's good. If they have a white paper, that's great. And then when you go shopping for, let's say you find a collection that you like and you go shopping, the amount that's listed the smaller that is, like with a nice amount of owners, that's typically a good sign. So
Okay.
so the more owners a collection has, that shows more people are interested in it.
Right.
And then so the higher that number is and the lower the list number is, it just shows like how much the community believes in them, in my opinion. And so,
So it's kind of like a supply and demand thing, I guess, right? You
yeah,
say
100%. Yeah, 100%.
right. So the more people that want it, if there's a lower supply of it, its value is going to go up, but people still want it.
Yep. So that's what happened with these Galaxy fighters. So at this time last night, there was like 750 for sale, and tonight there's like 575. So like the demand ate through 200 fighters, but people weren't listing new fighters fast enough to keep the price down. So now the
Right.
price almost doubled just today. Um,
I
yeah,
will say though, on the Galaxy Fighters, there was 3 accounts. The biggest one bought like 110.
what?
The second and third ones were in the pushing 50 range. So that's where a
Damn.
bulk of the purchases came from.
Okay.
People aren't listing as well. So, the supply and demand, like you were just saying.
I was going to say that is kind of a curious thing, though.
Does someone know something?
Well, right. That's what I'm thinking. Is that they're buying it at this amount because they know something, or they have a good feel about something.
Yeah.
You know.
I also don't know. You could also wonder and speculate if the team is buying it to make it look
Right.
pumpy as like a marketing scheme. Like
Yeah, and
that's
then there's
always an
something
opportunity
that-
too as an unknown wallet.
Yeah, and that would suck to fluff it like that, because that just shows, low determination on what, but I always try to go in and assume that, the company has its best interest at heart.
Yeah.
So, I don't believe that anyone wants to go out there and destroy their company like that, because that would be a very, very bad thing.
Yeah, it makes me confident just with
But-
what they have in the background going on. So, I don't know.
But like you said, though, they have their liquidity pool started. They have their white papers. They have a roadmap. It looks like everything's in order, and they look legit. And it seems as though what they have, at least from what I've seen, their stuff's primed and ready to go. All they're waiting for, is to finish up and get it all out there.
Yeah, yeah. And then to take, when you go shopping, a step further too, you're gonna notice a bunch of like traits when you go into these collections.
Yeah, I've noticed that.
And so like the traits can determine the rarity of what you're buying.
Okay.
So like actually a lot of collections have like all gold, like literally a pure gold avatar in there, and all the gold ones go for crazy. Like if they're wearing a crown, that's typically a good sign.
Okay.
The unique thing with the Galaxy Fighters too is in their white paper, they literally they have a list that shows you the strongest avatar up to or down to the weakest. And so like my buddy on Sunday, he bought one of the cyborgs for 1.1 ETH. And so while the collection it's probably just about doubled, like as a whole, went from like 0.35 to around 0.7 since Sunday. The cyborgs, he bought his for 1.1. The cheapest one you can buy now is 2.55.
Yeah, literally, holy crap.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this on the same topic of shopping and starting. Am I looking to purchase ETH first?
Yes. Yeah. So ETH is what you buy these collections with.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yep. And then, dude,
From there, am I trading them in for tokens, or buying them straight across for NFT collections?
yeah. So you'll go to OpenSea, and when you exchange your ETH, you get the NFT into your wallet in exchange.
Okay.
So-
Okay.
So then, like when Kev and I go to the Galaxy Fight Club website and we click account, it'll ask us to link our MetaMask, and then it shows us how much we're earning passively from our fighters per day. It shows us how many fighters we have and how much of the currency. So I don't know how far you looked into the fighters, but like in their play to earn game, they're gonna have their own coin. It'd be like if Horizon had its own currency.
Right.
And so since we have these fighters, we're earning 17 coin per day just for holding. So we're up to like 185 coin,
Right.
and the
And
game's not
could
out yet.
that coin be turned back into?
USD or Ethereum.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah,
So
it's pretty
passive
cool.
income is for you is just sitting there just earning.
Yeah.
And with their play to earn, you could bank that more by playing more, winning more, right, and gaining more coin that way.
Well, and another
I'm
cool.
gonna post the tweet up.
Yeah. Another cool thing though is with the Galaxy Fighters, and I haven't seen anyone else do this yet with well, I guess Axie did it, but like you can rent out your fighter for other players to use.
What?
So that's another form of passive income.
The possibilities is just endless. Oh my goodness, that is insane. That just blows my mind.
And-
You know, just the simple fact that one, you own this character, that's yours. You're making passive income anyway, regardless of if you're playing, not playing. It's just sitting there, you know, getting old.
Yep.
It's income. And just the simple fact that, like, hey, this is mine, but I'll let you borrow this for a price
Right?
while it's making income. Whether you use it or not, it's still going to make me passive income, you know?
Yeah.
And that, to me, it's just insane. You
Yeah.
know? It's amazing.
So like that type of utility behind a project is like kind of what we're looking for. So Kev just pinned a tweet to the top, to where he essentially broke down NFTs into 5 levels.
Okay.
And so like level 1 is just holding the US dollar, which of course is destroying itself. So that's worst case scenario. Then you could take your dollar, go buy Ethereum, which is an appreciating asset.
Right.
From there, like we just said, you take your ETH, you go buy a collection, and there's tons of collections, but this is where it starts to get kind of next level. So certain collections allow you to what's called stake your profile picture or your NFT. So that's what we're doing with these Galaxy Fighters, is they're essentially rewarding us for staying loyal to them. So
Okay.
we have those 3 fighters, so in return, they're giving us those 17 coins a day.
So, what do they require? Like, just say a generic company asks you to stay loyal. What does that mean as far as, you know, holding on to the character? Staying loyal, you just mean not selling it?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Just holding on to it.
Yep. And so essentially we're holding on to that in exchange for their economy's token.
Oh,
So not only is the Ethereum appreciating, hopefully the NFT collection is appreciating also, which in this case it is. Now we're being given Gcoin, which is its own currency, and it's about to have its liquidity pool drop next month to where we can start trading it, and hopefully that appreciates as well. And then this is where they knock it out of the park, going back to what you said, is like when you're shopping, you want to buy a good character that's going to battle well, because when you go play this game, you can then win more Gcoin.
right.
So you're literally making money 4 ways. 1 from if you win the game, 2 from that ecosystem's currency appreciating, 3 from your avatar appreciating, and then 4 from Ethereum appreciating.
That is just. And I know that's a lot of information, but I'm looking at it through open eyes.
Yeah.
And
Once it
it's
sinks
something-
in, you'll be like, holy shit.
I mean, just the thing of things, and I'm pretty sure the things that you were saying is just scratching the surface, like barely scratching the surface of what these NFTs can do as far as, being able to make that passive income and finding, a company or a team that, trusts enough that their stuff's going to worth value.
Yeah.
And like you said, that's widened my gaze quite a bit more, and like I said, once I started on the NFT train and learning all that I can about it, I want to get to that level of comfortability where it's just like, all right, I can see this company, I can feel them out, I can see what they have, I can make a good decision based on that set of information,
Yeah.
whether I want to invest or not.
Yeah, for sure. And so like that's what was attractive to us about the Galaxy Fighters was they have a whole ecosystem built.
Yeah.
Like that's not shallow stuff.
No, that's stuff that actually took work, took time. They put in the hours for that kind of thing. And like we said, it's not something, and that's what kind of steering me away from thinking that it's their own people buying it. Because, like you said, it's a lot of work, and you don't want your project to tank in that kind of way.
Yeah.
And that's why I have the confidence in a lot of different companies that I'm looking at, because they're kind of in that same way where they built a foundation where, if that were to collapse, they would go under, and that they don't want to do that.
100%. Yeah. No, and I think these guys are playing the long game because like with this app also, they're inviting other NFT collections to play also. It's just if
Wow.
it's just if you hold one of their fighters, you're gonna make more coin per game because you're bought into their ecosystem.
You're representing for them.
Exactly. So like the apes though, and like hopefully the fluffs, that'd be kind of cool. But
I
like
took a little bit of look into the fluffs, but go ahead with your thought.
yeah, so like, but the more profile, well, not just profile picture collections, but like the more avatar projects that come along and join their ecosystem, it should just grow their coin exponentially. And I assume those people will want an original fighter at some point or another also.
Oh yeah, definitely. And well, see, and that kind of leads me to another question as far as the original fighters. If they have original fighters, say that fighter becomes one of the top fighters, could that potentially be turned into an NFT for that for the Galaxy Fighters?
As in what? Like,
Like their character? Yeah, so like their character itself. Say somebody makes a character on whatever system that they have to create it, and it's like, okay, you're one of our best fighters. We want to pretty much sponsor you, so we'll give you this coin. Could that be a possibility?
like so I think actually the way that would play out is they're gonna be hosting tournaments weekly. So there's gonna be like up to 2 Ethereum up for grabs in these tournaments.
Oh, okay.
So like if an outside party comes in, I don't think they would necessarily get sponsored by the fighters, but they could win the tournament.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah.
That definitely makes sense.
Yeah, so I think that's pretty cool. The fluffs might be for another night even. The fluffs and the AFAs. But no, that just goes to show that like there's teams out there that work to that extent. So I mean, look, like when you're diving into these projects, go into their Discord, go to their website, like, and I truly do think the Galaxy Fighters and the Fluffs are great examples.
Right.
But like once you see a project like that, you don't go back to buying shallow projects because like, so it's like when you're shopping now, it's like you gotta have someone impress you. Like there's gotta be something that stands out. And when there's projects like this that we've already stumbled across, it's kind of hard for new projects to stand out. So, but no,
Yeah,
so
because
that's
you've already had something so great, you just like you want to keep on that ball.
exactly. So, but yeah, no, I would recommend digging into that, dude. Like the fighters, they have weapons, they have companions, the dragons. That same friend who bought the cyborg for 1.1, he bought a dragon for 2 ETH, and the cheapest dragon today is 4 ETH. So
Holy jeez.
he's made like 12 grand in 4 days.
Yeah, that's insane. So let me ask you this, and this is it kind of in that same same story, and we'll switch gears just a hair. With companies like this that you see, where do you see? Let's say if Facebook Horizon were to allow, like you said, we're looking into trading. Trading
NFTs.
goods and stuff like that, and if it does become a thing where you can trade NFTs for it, where do you see it going as far as Horizon's ability to have those NFTs, to sell them or sponsor the people who are in there? Where do you see that going if that be the case?
Yeah, I that's a great question, and I think the best way they could play it is going the Ready Player Me route, to where they
Right.
just let down their gates, they accept an open metaverse, but they have the technology through the Oculus headset that is the wow factor. Like
Right.
they can monopolize the hardware. Go ahead, monopolize the hardware, but let the gates down and let this whole movement evolve in a like community way, because that's what it is. It's community at the end of the day. So
No, definitely.
I hope that's how they play it. That's a great question. I I don't even have a prediction on
Yeah,
how
no,
it goes.
yeah, in specifics to like things that NFTs could be used for in Horizon, it could be interoperability with, land purchases, or like starting your own world, or like things for your avatar, whether that be, and letting that be user creation things for your avatar,
Yes.
you know, and even it could be, your username could be an NFT. Like there's just so many options that you can do. Like if I'm if Kev becomes super popular, and I decide, what, I don't want to be Kev anymore, but people know Kev, I'm gonna put Kev out on the marketplace, and somebody else can be Kev, and now I can be
Whoever you want, yeah.
right.
But see, and this kind of goes back to your the episode you had the other day about how the creators have worlds full of assets. I have worlds of just assets,
Yeah.
that could potentially be an NFT. My concern with that is because everything in Horizon technically belongs to them until you record and pull it out. Would that cause a little bit of a hiccup, or would them allowing that to become an NFT be more? I don't know what the right way to ask this. Would it be something that would push it along or hold it back?
If they allowed that to happen,
Yeah.
in my opinion, it would lead towards that open metaverse concept. And truly, I mean, if we took a screenshot of one of our in-world assets now, I mean, it's a JPEG. It's essentially recorded, and we took it out, and
Right.
you could do what you wanted with it.
Right. And because right now I have hours and hours of footage that I've recorded. I have tons of pictures of just us enjoying building in a world,
Yeah, 100%.
Like you said, with all the people who already have assets, you could take a picture, snap it, and that could be someone's profile picture, and that could be turned into an NFT.
Yep.
It could be something super popular that everybody wants, or it could just be
100%.
something mundane that only some people like.
Yeah, or I mean, or it could just be. I mean, some people are storing NFTs simply due to the blockchain too, like for memories. Like
Yeah.
it's there.
Honestly, the elevated one that I got from you, that's what I did. I stored it for a good memory because remember doing that. I'm just like, yeah, that was really fun. You know,
Yeah.
I thought
That's
it was really
sweet.
cool.
But
No,
no.
and even if you took it, all these profile pictures have communities of surrounding, the bored apes, the lazy lions, the gremlin toads. You have so many communities out there that in an open metaverse, having that profile picture and being able to go into Horizon and using the avatar you want, you can essentially build a world and hold a. Sorry, I'm cooking food.
You're good.
You can hold that being an access token, so you could essentially lock the world up to only people who have that. So then
Bingo.
it spreads the selling and buying and demand for being a bored ape.
Well,
Because it's like, okay, I can only go into their worlds and I have this. And it's so, it's kind of disclusion, but at the same time, it's kind of like a fraternity and an honor and a privilege to essentially be in there.
And that's kind of where I have a little bit of
I
mixed
think more
feelings.
people need to create their own.
Oh yeah, definitely. And that's kind of like I said, where I have a little bit of mixed feelings because Zuck wants to have the open metaverse. He wants this. He's shooting for this metaverse, right? But then if you look at Facebook Horizon, they want they don't want exclusivity. So could in some ways that could cause a little bit of an issue just on that front. But I don't know if if sometime in the future that's what they're going to plan. I mean, along with this $10 million, investment, that could become a thing. And like you said, they lightly touched on it, and I caught it too. I was like, wait a minute, what does that mean for everyone else and the metaverse?
yeah.
Could we start seeing the possibility of a market for NFTs, having things on blockchain, and that way we can authenticate them and, be legitimate NFTs where you could, sell on the open market.
Well, and so that's, I mean, if you think about like an asset within a Horizon world, it's kind of the same concept as like your Galaxy Fighter having the boxing gloves or a crossbow to use.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So like that's gonna be an asset within that metaverse realm. So like that they're kind of doing it like Horizon will just end up doing it backwards. I feel like it'll have all these assets and then accept NFT technology to where there's gonna be like a flood of NFTs being minted if they allow that. But
And that's what my concern was that are we going to see just, because like you said, like they said in the video, they're going to start supporting the creators. Are we going to start seeing more mediocre worlds, or are we going to start seeing more high quality worlds? And if that becomes an NFT thing, will those NFTs be flooding in, just a ton of them where they're not going to be really worth a whole lot?
well,
Or are you going to see super rare ones where they're going to be worth,
well, I think that would be the beauty of NFTs is that if NFTs are introduced, it doesn't matter if it's a mediocre world or a beautiful world. The NFTs are essentially going to be that's going to be the rating. Like if the NFT is in demand, that means, oh, I want access into that world or I want to use this whatever inside of that world to where the NFT would be the incentive to build beautiful art.
So, and
Look at it like
Go ahead.
look at it at like the way if you and Lex and all of these impressive creators that have been here since day one were to drop a project of only 1,000 pieces of something that you created, and people know like, okay, these guys have been here since the beginning, and that is status. So if I have one of their creations in my world, there's only 1,000 of them, and there's 200 million people in here. So if I have one of those in one of my worlds and somebody comes to my world, I might get more
100%.
views on my world.
Right.
However Facebook sets it up, but it's it's just almost a status thing.
Right.
That
And
would-
the cool thing about it is we can snap pictures for the doors to our world. And if you have that item in that, you could snap that picture with that item, with that asset in that picture, and set it as your door, and everyone would see it before they even enter the world. So they could be like, wow.
Yeah.
I want to go into that world because now I can see it before I even enter it.
Oops, sorry.
And
Sorry, I'm back. But no, so yeah, no, those are all great questions. And if Facebook pulls off Horizon like they pulled off Facebook the app, there's gonna be a lot of people in there. So if you're an OG in Horizon and you have an NFT to prove it, I mean that's gonna be worth some currency at some point.
And here's the cool thing too, is that you don't necessarily have to lock your world. So you know how it is when you create, you don't have to publish your world.
Yeah.
And the cool thing is that when I'm building in my world, I have people just come and visit me all the time,
Yeah.
you know. And then I'll have other people that they're just like, hey, you know, go see UK for this and whatnot. And they're like, where's he at? Where's he at? Oh, 90% of the time I'm building something, you know. And it's like it's technically a locked world because they don't have privy to it.
Yeah.
Until I allow them to, you know.
Yeah. But yeah, there could essentially be like the NFT could be verification. Like you wouldn't have to manually do it. The NFT could be coded to be the access token.
And man, would that be insane just to have that technology. You could
Right.
script that in.
Yeah.
And I would script that in an hour and just be like, done.
Right?
If
But-
player holding equals true.
Exactly. but no, so I don't know. I'm about to get off for the night. Kev, I got that article scheduled for tomorrow morning. That's the Ready Player Me one. UK. I don't know if you're subscribed to the Revu yet, but that's at our Twitter profile.
He is. I seen him. He's in there.
Let's go.
Yeah, definitely.
So that should be coming through to you tomorrow morning, and then
Heck yeah.
Kev, I'll import those 10 Horizon pieces by the end of tomorrow also. So should be all good. But all right, I will talk to you guys very soon.
Yeah, thank you all for letting me join in on this.
Thank you for
definitely
hosting, man.
fun. Des, it was really nice meeting you. Kev, C, it was really good talking to you guys again.
Yeah,
We gotta hop in Horizons again.
for sure.
Start building more.
Yep. If you have any questions though about shopping or like setting anything up, just DM us. So
Definitely. Sounds good.
alrighty, we'll see you guys.
Is Horizons on desktop at all?
Right now it's only on the headset. I believe.
All right, I'll see you guys there soon.
Looking forward to it, Des.
All
Just
right.
look me up.
We'll see you guys.
I'll talk.
I'll catch you guys later.
See
Have
ya.
a good one.
You too.